Hello, everyone, and welcome to this panel session dedicated to TESOL Italy publication, Responding to Teachers' Needs in Time. I'm very pleased to welcome the participants to these panel sessions, dear friends and colleagues, components of the editorial boards of TESOL Italy publication, Perspectives, newsletter and New Perspectives. And this panel wishes to provide a space for reflection and discussion on the role that TESOL Italy publication have played and still play in its almost 50 years of activity. So to maybe next to to start the discussion, we have thought of two questions to which our guests are going to answer. I'll give the floor to Lucilla Lopriore first.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here. And I will next, Daniela. Thank you. Okay, I have started with the title Perspectives, a Long and Winding Road, starting in 1975 with several dots because the road keeps going, and you will learn it by listening to our presentation now. I was in charge of Perspectives since 1999 up to 2015, but I was officially as the editor, but it was an editorial board that has been working together with me all through these years. The editorial board changed twice with different components. Now, one of the questions that has been asked is how have TESOL publications responded to teachers' educational and professional development needs in progressively changing environments? Because yes, it looks not so far away when it all started in 1975, but things have changed a lot in terms of educational issues, in terms of our field of interest, that is English language teaching. English itself has changed totally, and teachers had to continuously adjust to that. So I try to respond by referring to TESOL Italy's mission. TESOL Italy's mission, and I highlighted the most important bits of this, is to develop the expertise of those involved in teaching English to speakers of other languages, and to foster professional growth and active participation in language teaching. So it's a mission that includes promoting community understanding of the role of language in a progressively changing environment. Because as teachers, we all know that our environment, the educational environment, but also the societal conditions change continuously. And particularly teachers are aware of that because they continuously have to adjust. Just think of the plurilingual population, school population, that has dramatically changed in the last 10 years. And teachers needed to equip themselves for that. Another thing that is linked to TESOL mission is that they explain what to achieve, that in order to achieve this, TESOL Italy encourages access to and standards for English language instruction, professional preparation, continuing education, and student programs. So we have in mind what happens in the school and in particular in language teaching. Links groups to enhance communication among language specialists. Like, let's look at our convention. It's a place where communication among language specialists was announced, produces high quality programs as the conference itself, services and products as the publication, and promotes advocacy to further the profession. Daniela, next. I started by sharing with you this picture that dates back to 1986. So 11 years after Perspectives had started, and I like it for two reasons. First, because there are some of the founders. The woman in the middle is Mary Finocchiaro, but there are quite famous people who have made the professional of English language teaching in Italy. And they are just outside the Agostinianum, where one of the first conferences for English language teachers was organized by Perspective. Now, why do I put that? Because in a way, the Perspectives was initially published as a TESOL annual conference program with contributions of main presenters, a section on book reviews, and of course, advertisements. And some of the advertisements were right at the beginning, even handmade. I wanted to show you here something that I found in 1983, in the 1983 program and a Perspective. It is a handmade program that was distributed in that year to the conference participants. You're going to see it in the next slide. So let me briefly say that this is the long list of years from 1975 to 2016 is a list of how Perspectives changed in the year before. There were 3 issues, then there were 2 issues. In 2011, it became digital, and there were several double issues, and Mary Finocchiaro was present almost half of these years as the editor, together with Cosmasiani, who took over later, and for quite a long time, he was the editor. Also the publisher changed. So this is just to give you an idea of how Perspectives was closely linked to the conference. Next, please. Yeah, this is the program I wanted to show you. You see there, this is a handmade program copied that was distributed to the course participants. And this dated back in 1983. So if you think, not a lot of years have passed, but things have changed dramatically. And then the 2 pages you see there is where it's Mary Finocchiaro's speech when she wrote the very first introduction to the Perspectives, but Perspectives that was a conference conference journal. Among the things that she says in her presentation, she writes in her introduction, she speaks and she explains to the participants how to participate in a conference, suggesting that they took notes and they spoke out during the discussion after each talk. So I thought that this was a way to represent how Perspectives and TESOL Italy responded to the needs of the teachers, because not all teachers were used to participate into conference. There were not as many conferences there are here. And in the end, she says in this issue, you will find not only the conference program with some abstracts which have been received and published ads, but also the important papers listed below, because there is the program of the paper. So it was just already a journal. I will make no comments on the paper, except to say, I hope they will provide you food for thought. So again, it's a direct dialogue with the teachers. And in the end, she adds, the book reviews are brief. I beg you to offer, and this is quite interesting, I beg you to offer to review some books. I received many excellent ones, but there is no time to review them adequately. So already in this introduction, she was highlighting the relevance of the relationship between TESOL Italy and TESOL Italy members, and also the difficulties of handling an organization like that and handling a publication. And at the end, they say, as she says, enjoy the convention and the articles. I hope you will find something you can use tomorrow in your classroom, or that you will spur you on to think of topics you would like to explore further. Next, please. Here you can see some how these perspectives has responded to teachers' educational and professional development need in progressively changing environments. And you can see they put the first one, which was the number 1983, the one I've just read from. It was the volume 7, number 3. And then you have the number, that the issue of 1986 and the issue of 1992. And there was a mistake. The blue one is not 1993, but it's 2010. I mixed the age. And the last one is the second digital edition of Perspectives. What is interesting there to be seen is to give you the idea of how things change, progressively changing environments. In the first issue of Perspective, the one you see to the left, I offered you, there is an article by Maria Sticchi Damiani, who spoke about the non-native user, the non-native English user. So she was anticipating in 1983 something we've been talking a lot about in the last 2 or 3 years. And then there was an article by the president of the TESOL on English as a world language. Another article that really struck my attention is an article by Maria Antonietta Vigo on the dialect and unexpected and inexpensive teaching aid, where she describes how, living in Sicily, she had managed to use dialect to teach English.
Lucilla, try to be more concise so to give also time to the others, because
I know I've got 15 minutes and now it's 10 minutes 37
okay,
exactly.
just
because
okay, no, just
it's very quick. The second one, in the second one, you've got, for example, articles by Sheila Rickson on authentic listening. In the third one, the one 1992, is we find Luciano Mariani, who has often contributed and to Perspectives, who talks about language awareness, yet another topic that is very much felt and it was anticipated there. And then all the other next please, all the other issues to show that it was adapting and adjusting to the time. Very quickly here, how have TESOL publications responded to this professional development? Well, this is all in the editorial policy because it explains the main objective of Perspectives, articles that encompass both theory and practice based on current research in the field. I highlighted in the articles, in the reports and reflections, in the notepad, in the book reviews and notices, that very often there is a reference to the fact that they could be based, the articles, the contributions could be based on practical experience, linking classroom to theory and linking and reporting about their experience. I think this again responds to how have these TESOL publications responded to teachers' educational and professional development. Next, please. Now, again, trying to respond to what the same question. Well, one of the things that was done by identifying outstanding speakers at the conference and authors that could provide prospective readers with articles that would encompass both theory and practice. What this was stated in the mission as well, which is based on current research in the field, while encouraging teachers to present and describe their classroom-based research on projects in the field of ELT. And among the several authors who contributed to Perspectives, we've got a long list of Italian famous authors like Renzo Titoni, Gianfranco Porcelli, Luciano Mariani, Clotilde Pontecorvo, Silvana Ferreri, Paola Giunchi, and several authors who come from either England or the States. Jack Richards was twice at TESOL Italy and wrote, Sandra Sauvignon, James Delatis, Marianne Seltzer-Murcia, Diane Lorse-Freeman, Henry Widdowson, Donald Freeman, Sheila Rickson, Norman Whitney, Tony Beckby, John McRae, Jennifer Jenkins, Anne Rames, Tom Scoville, June Liu, and Luc Podromo. Next, please. Here you find how the response to the question, what have TESOL Italy publications offered TESOL Italy members so far, and what can they offer in response to foreseen as expected educational demands? Those are the 6 special issues that were published between 1999 and 2010, so in the space of 10 years. And in the space of 10 years, we've got, we devoted at the beginning, actually there was one in 1996, EFL at primary level. It was just after the primary school reform. 2002, it was on action research. That was a time where action research, teachers were involved in that. So again, a response. And 2003, at the end of the CIS experience on teacher education. In 2003, the second number, it was the changes from English to Englishes. In 2008, for the death of Sirio Di Giulio Maria, who was one of our founders, there was a special issue devoted to him. And the last one, 2010, was a special issue devoted to CLIL. Next, please. Here you've got special issues that are mostly, and I'm going to conclude very soon, mostly, and I gave you these examples because I thought that it is relevant to see that, for example, in the special issues, the 2002 devoted to action research is totally, contains totally authors that are language teachers from Italy, Italian language teachers and experts, as many others of the other journals, the special issues, and they all contain the majority experiences from teachers in the field. And the action research, as I said before, it was very, well known about among teachers. And so these were, and also responding with the 2010 special issue on CLIL. So responding to the needs of the teachers. Next. I finished. And it's exactly 15 minutes and a half. So perspectives.
Thank you so much. I know that
road from 1970.
Yeah, I know that it's very, very difficult to describe
I would like to conclude here. Perspectives was a long and winding road. It's not easy. All the people who have been working with journals, the newsletter, and perspectives know how hard it is to keep the time, and how hard it is also to respond to the needs of teachers, because there are silent periods where things seem not to happen, and it's very difficult to find a response which is usable. And I would like to conclude, because the road was not taken, but it was taken, because perspectives will continue with the new perspectives. And I would like to conclude with Denise Murray's words: professional learning for second language educators occurs through a variety of encounters and experiences in different contexts. This has happened to all of us who've been working in the editorial board and in both of perspectives and working for newsletter. Many of these encounters are planned and many are unplanned. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Marina.
Thank you very much. Yes. It has been extremely moving to go through the long, winding road and really moving history, important history. This is such an important background, and this is such an important frame of reference for all of us, TESOL Italy TESOLers. And it is no coincidence that the new perspectives issues that are going to be published soon are in a continuum, because I would like to start with Denise Murray's quotation as well as Lucilla did. I picked up another important statement or suggestion, if we want to put it, by Denise Murray. She said, embrace change And this is really the spirit through which we are in a continuum, in spirit of progression and in response to changing needs. I also wanted to point out that the publication in object is also responding to the main title of this important conference, Promoting Hope in ELT and Professional Development as a sub-theme. We do believe that these publications can provide ground for our community to develop professionally. So we will focus on new scientific gains, as it has been pointed out in the past. We will continue. We will share the new findings of the scholars and of the practitioners from the important grassroots community that is populating TESOL Italy. And we will focus on new successful practices as well. New, why new? Because new means innovative, because it means responding to changing needs, refreshed, and perspectives. Perspectives mean vision, means longeverance, means openness, means wide open scenario, panorama, vista, like the one in the picture. Next slide, please. We do have an editorial board, which is represented by Enrica Flamini, director, because we need to have a professional journalist to be director, and then myself as editor-in-chief for a two-year period, and then Michael Ennis as assistant editor will come in charge. And then we have the members of the editorial committee, Daniela Cucurullo, Paola Grelli, Maria Rosella Manni. The editorial policy has been kept exactly as it is. So I will just emphasize the theory and practice aspect and the fact that we do want professional development, and also to say, to provide the means to develop by reading the articles, okay, and strengthen research, which is not limited to the academicians in the ivory towers, but to all the people working with language, with everyday experience. So next slide. In order to empower our integrity and our, let's say, sense of going towards the right direction in research, we endowed ourselves, like all the important journals in the world, of a scientific committee, which is Italy-based and internationally based. I'm sure you recognize, please go back to the names. You recognize some of the names of the scientific board: Lucilla Lopriore, Maria Grazia Guido, Francesca Costa, Sharon Hertel, and Francesca Helm from Italy. I do not have the time to explain why they've been asked to be part of the scientific committee to guarantee the quality and update substance and research of the articles that are going to be published. And then look at the internationally based components. Nair Ibrahim, Donna Tatsky, Professoressa Emerita, Professor Emerita, Shelley Taylor, whom we had this afternoon, and who also provided a main article for the first issue of the new series, together with Donna Taxi, both in their respective fields. Kathleen Graves, another Professor Emerito who was, I mean, we do not need to spend words on Kathleen Graves, and Janet Zadina. So you see how many good friends who have esteem on us we have in the world. Next slide, please. But also we wanted to, it is true that you should never judge a book from its cover, but we wanted to renew the cover as well. And thanks Maria Rosella Manni's contribution, we have the Penrose triangle, that can be seen from different points of view, giving different perspectives each time. Action, power, progression, purpose, and direction are all represented by the triangle. Teaching and learning as well have different perspectives according to the points of view. And Rosella says transmission, professional development, learning by doing, facilitating self-efficacy, all of them are characterized by action, power, progression, purpose, and direction, represented by the Penrose triangle. Next, please. I will not spend time on the different contributions because they are exactly the same. They have been kept. Just let me point out that the articles will be probably provided by full-time academicians. Reports and reflections, on the other hand, they can be provided by all of us, giving references, bibliographical references. The interview corner is an interesting format because it can be also an audio file, usually 15, 20 minutes. And then the notepad is a shorter piece based on experience. Finally, the book reviews and notices. I'm sure that everybody will want to contribute to the next issue, making a book review of the book on emotional learning that Grazia Mendoza just spoke about. And you are all welcome. So please, next. In fact, for the book review, we have the interesting comment that Paola Grelli provided. Writing a book review has provided me with the opportunity of reactivating prior knowledge and skills in relation to academic writing, as well as of accomplishing further research on the topic of translation, an area of personal great interest, because she reviewed a book by Juliane House on translation, and you will read it pretty soon. So contributing to the book review implied for Paola refreshing academic interest, empowering organizational skills, and focusing concentration on a shared goal to achieve. We need to have this, my dear ones, and together we can do that. So please, next slide, which is also the final. You can contribute, all members can contribute inside and outside the community as well, because collaborating is also growing professionally. Submissions can be sent to this email address, ev.newperspectives@gmail.com. We are waiting for you because the publications, the New Perspectives, is not an ivory tower. It's a stretching bridge going towards you. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Marina. And now a very quick glance at TESOL Italy newsletter. I'd like to start with a key sentence that appears in the first chapter of the 1999 affiliate newsletter manual that perfectly describes the ongoing and long-standing process of the preparation of TESOL newsletter, something that I've shared with Anna Rosa Iraldo, previous editor of the newsletter. I'm sorry she couldn't be here today with us. Preparing a newsletter is a process that requires much reflection, a great deal of nurturing from many people. And so it is perfectly linked to TESOL Italy mission that Lucilla Lopriore introduced at the beginning of her reflection on perspectives, where you can see that the newsletter role is not only to provide a lens through which readers can view the organization activities, but also to function as the voice of the organization. So with every issue of the newsletter, readers can know the opinions and concern of colleagues in the field, thus responding to a changing environment. At the same time, the newsletter is a supplement of perspectives and our view of new perspectives, and it keeps the interest alive of professional issues to be dealt with in the journal, with a deeper and more formal approach. In short, the successful newsletter expresses what its reader wants to hear and the manuals suggest. A very brief reflection on the process of the newsletter. They started in 1991. I was not a member of TESOL Italy at that time, but just a small jump, because here you have the very first number of the newsletter, and Ciro Di Giulia Maria was past president of TESOL Italy, and a lot of work to be done. The perspective started in 1999, and it has 5 issues during the year, bi-monthly from January to June, from September to December. And since 2013, it has been delivered to the members by email. So it went digital, thus lightening the burden of the time-consuming process of sending envelopes by post. Now, I think that images more than words can testify the evolution of the newsletter. You see here, it was the first call for papers at that time when the newsletter was issued in 1991, and it is totally different from the process that you have been following this year to be part of this convention. And also the agenda of TESOL Italy national meeting on May the 5th in 1999. News information on TESOL Italy, and some notices. Here we have sorry for this. Here you have in memoria Mary Finocchiaro as the founder of TESOL Italy, and I think that this is very important to quote this brief editorial. On the right-hand side, we have the promotion of TESOL Italy 21st Annual Convention. It was Mind the Language, shaping language education in a changing world. And I want to focus the attention on the bottom of the page on the right hand side, where there is the certificate of attendance that was recognized by the Ministry of Education with the direttiva del 1 luglio 1996. Every issue of the newsletter includes regular columns, but we have also contribution for other participants. So you are all welcome. As you are welcome in sending a contribution for new perspectives, you are more than welcome in sending contribution for the newsletter. I would just give you an idea of the regular columns and of the new ones. There is always a leading article by the president of TESOL Italy, and I've chosen one of 2008 by Mary Beth Flynn, Changes in the Air, and one of Maria Grazia Maglione that was in March and April 2022, so a very recent one where there was a tragic event of Ukraine. And there is an introductory reflection by the editor. The first one is by Anna Rosa Iraldo, Changes in Continuity, and the newsletter was the one in 2010, and the other one is mine, Resetting Education and Training for the Digital Age, as the evolution had been had gone forward, so in 2021. Food for Thought, a very successful column by Franca Ricci Stevenson. And on the left, you have an edition of 2012. As you see, it was still published, and it was still published and sent by a regular mail. In the other case, it was sent by, it was digital by email. The other one is by Maria Rosella Manni on the 2019, and Food for Thought from TESOL publication. The first one is on reflective teaching. When we starting, thanks also the process of action research and involvement of so many schools in the action research process to think as reflectioners, practitioners. Margaret Ennis gave a wonderful talk on this yesterday morning, and the other one is on online learning in the USA. And it was, I chose this one because it was a year before we went online due to the lockdown. But in Franca Ricci Stevenson, as innovative as she is, had already noticed the possibility of this. Buzzwords, we have here Lucilla Lopriore, so we have two different contributions. We have so many, and I think that they are really worthwhile reading, all of them. I'm the incoming president. I think that one of the things we should do is to widespread the different numbers of the newsletter. The buzzword was tasks, and the other one is intercomprehension, 2005-2012. News from the local groups. So we always welcome news from local groups. Here we have from Veneto, and the other group is from Veneto, the one, while we have a column that at the beginning was sketches by Morb. Morb is Marina Morbiducci. Then the column changed in translation in love, and this one is in, sorry for the dates, it's 2017. So I'm just going to the future. Translation in love was the last contribution for this column, but never say never. We'll just wait for another one. We always publish something as save the date, and this was for the 10 years ago, 37th annual National Convention, language landscape. I think that Marina Morbiducci was president at that time, and so we not only say that there will be we announced that will be the convention, but also the Sirio Di Giulio Maria Award that is still on. So yesterday we awarded the prizes to the two teachers, and this languages symposium online with Ike Philp that you have met for the virtual booth. So I met Ike Philp many years ago, and she published also an article in the newsletter. Another column is the Web Watch. It was by Mary Beth Flynn at the beginning, and now she passed over the torch to Esterina Latorre. So two different contributions, and social emotional learning. We have just listened to the wonderful speech by Mary Grazia Mendoza on that. Next one, again, a web watch, but the picture is to highlight the book clubs by Elenka Kinnan. So we started with this new column. Now we have something similar, but it is the Literary Corner by Manuela Esposito, who is also a speaker at this convention, and it was in Memory of the Waves by Virginia Woolf. Before we also had some digital reflection suggestions. Web 2, it is nice as it was written. It is not the number, it is like that, by Valentina Dodge, that has been a member of TESOL Italy for many years. Again, another sketch by Morb, and Melanie Rockenhouse. So you see here who is in the classroom. This is the 6th interview, but I think that we have many, and it was a very interesting contribution, very useful contribution for teachers. The Way They Learned by Anna Rosa Iraldo. It is a column that people really appreciate. So I wanted to put together one that looked at the past, so the way they learned, and one that looks at the future, because in 2012, that was mine. I wrote on the flipped classroom. That is a buzzword nowadays, but we were innovative because we talked about that in many years ago. Teen Voices. This is a column recently created, and because we want that also students express their ideas. Here we have students on the left-hand side, but we have adult teachers on the right-hand side, and inside view strange notions by Adrian Bedford. It is really a worthwhile reading article because he is an English teacher who teaches at the University of Naples, so he's a colleague of mine. A European perspective, Gisella Langer, published in 2017 on Certilingua, something she introduced yesterday and during a talk, and Horizon Europe, a new column by Germana Palumbo, just to act as a lens to magnify the research and innovation programs all over Europe. And then the Hopscotch by Elisabetta Burchetti, dedicated to primary, and on the other side we have an article by Malu Sciamarelli on encouraging creativity in the primary classroom. Three editors. Cosma Siani was the founder of this newsletter and the first editor from 1991 to 1996. Then Anna Rosa Heraldo was the editor from 1996 to 2011, and now I start in 2011. I'm still the editor of the newsletter.
Daniela, 1 minute left.
1 minute left, okay. Just to give you an idea, leaving the floor to the new editor by the different editors. So it's a desktop publisher, the Claudio Giacinti, 1991, June 2013, then Maria Rosella Manni, since September 2013, June 2017, and Piera Fiorinasso, September 2017, still now. We had a special on Summer Camp, an initiative by TESOL Italy, when so they had a summer camp organized in Sicily, and I have the last special. You can download this just with the QR code, or I'll share the link in the chat, but it is a special number that is dedicated to what we lead in March 2020. We say that we respond to changing educational needs. Well, so you say standing in solidarity with our TESOL affiliates. I want to go online just to surf it very, very quickly. Please remember to download it from here because it just lasts 7 days. It is a trial, and you see Best of Evo. That year TESOL International was the first time online, and Vance Stevens, who passed away, sorry for this, some months ago, did a wonderful thing to share things online. So we went online, and this is the Best of Electronic Village online with lots of contributions. Then we had the contribution of the Indire, teaching during the COVID emergency, distance learning and teaching, EF talks dedicated to emission support online, a lot of people, teen voices, and if you read through the lines of this, you feel the social, emotional situation of these teens. Spring is coming and our souls are dreaming of rebirth and hope. Then, sorry, but I'm suffering from a bad cold. Bruna Di Sabato, Staying the Distance, and Alba Graziano, the experience of the Unitus, a small experiment with Zoom by Richard Brown during that time, and the web watch dedicated to this, e-twinning, distance learning by Alessandra Cannelli, distance learning challenges, opportunities by Anna Lagigna. And that's all. I hope that was very, very quick. I hope that you'll enjoy downloading it. I'll write in the chat the link so you can download directly from there. Okay.
Oh, I warmly thank all of you for sharing this overview and long way of our publications. I hope that this is only maybe a starting point, because I need that maybe you have to go on discussing, especially on the role and what are the needs we have to respond as it was in the questions we posed. But now it's time to leave the session and to join the closing session with the raffle, and then we will have the results of the elections and my thank you and my thank you messages. Okay, see you in a minute.
Okay.
You said that the road to happiness was long and winding. You said that the forest would get dark, and that the ground could shift here upon this hill we're climbing. No matter how close we get, we're still so far. But I trust we'll find the clearing. I'm trusting the trail. No matter what we're feeling, there's one way we can't fail. Let's just keep hiking. Let's plant our feet. Let's just keep hiking. Keep hiking with me. Hold my hand, baby. Keep hiking with me. You said the road up to success was an impossible test unless we had some sort of map. And I could feel it in my chest just as our feet begged us to rest. I think this just might be the end of that. But I said I trust we'll find the clearing. I'm trusting the trail. No matter what we're feeling, there's one way we can't fail. Let's just keep hiking. Let's plant our feet. Let's just keep hiking. Keep hiking with me. Hold my hand.